Eh, you know, I was in Glasgow today, right? I was in Glasgow today. And this is why it's important, you try to find answers. You try to find answers to simple questions like on a daily basis, you try to find answers. You look for inspiration on a daily basis, you know. Like I was in Glasgow today and I was looking for an earphone and I popped into HMV, right? And when I went downstairs, I think I see, because in life, sometimes in life there's a revolution going on or a secret or something is happening, right? In life where you can't put your fingers on it, right? Because we're living in a time nowadays where like, gone are the days when there was this thing called job security, right? Like there's no such thing nowadays where you call like job security or people just happy if you settle for the status quo, right? Where if you think like, all right, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get an education, I'm going to get a desk job, I'm going to do this job, right? Welcome if you just join the lives. Grab a chair because you're going to want to hear this because a lot of you don't listen to anything unless it's a naked girl, right? Or it's a naked guy and you be like, all you thirsty guys are like, oh God, you're so sexy, you're so... Sit down and listen because this reasoning, I guarantee you, if you watch this reasoning, it might change your life. Alright? You might, so grab a chair because a lot of guys nowadays on TikTok, they're like thirsty. Like, if a girl, you go on some pages with some girls who are just wearing the least clothes and exposing themselves and all the guys are over there. Oh baby, you're so beautiful. Oh baby, calm your thirsty self down. Get a chair and listen. I'm going to give you a reason today that's going to change your life. Right? Because I've realized there's something happening in this world. Right? And if you are going to get somebody who's going to tell you what's happening, under 5 minutes, I probably spend 15 minutes on TikTok. And I'm going to tell you what's happening. So all you thirsty guys who is just popping in and out a room. And if there's not breast or bum or fanny and display, you don't got that time. Sit your ass down and listen. Alright. I went into HMV today, right? And I realized something is happening in this world. And we are living in a time where a generation of people, right, is realizing I wish I was 20-year-old younger or 10-year-old younger. Why am I saying this? Let's skip to it. There was a band playing in HMV today, right? And I'm not a mathematician, but I think the average age of the band, like there was so much mature people playing. I think there are about in the late 50s, early 60s, I would say, right? And these guys was on display, like they just realized, like, I'm going to have to just take a chance. And they were playing music. And when I look on the stage and look on the average age, you're realizing like we are living in a time where nobody is going to sit down and listen to you complaining and saying that there is no opportunity out there, right? Because we're living in a time now where if you don't try to better your circumstances, if you don't try to do something, if you don't try to make something of your life, then the buck stops with you. I'm standing in HMV in Glasgow today, right? I'm in HMV in Glasgow today, right? And it look like they have this new setup nowadays where they got a small bandstand down the stage where up and coming band can go and play music, right? And I was actually down the stairs. And when I went down there and look who was on stage, they were like people in the late 50s. I think they just started a band and they were very good. But these people probably just wake up to the realization like life is what it is nowadays. You have to willing to try. The opportunity is there. Like if this group of people that was playing the music today had went to a music executive and said to them, by the way, we want to start a band, right? They would get laughed the way out, right? Because these are older people, look like they are grandparents or have family, but right? And these people, so this is what I'm trying to say to you, right? Because I'm trying to get it through to people who's just popping in and popping out, right? Don't sit around. No one is going to accept your excuses anymore. Right? You are living in a time nowadays where you're literally, your destiny, your future is in your hand, right? Your destiny, the outcome of your life, the result that you are experiencing in life is in your destiny. Gone are the days when you have to live to the status quo. Go to college, get a desk job, do it to the best of your ability for 25 years. When you retire, you get a gold watch, right? There's no such thing nowadays as job security. There's no such thing as playing it safe. There is no such thing as being shy. Right? You literally have to step out your comfort zone nowadays to have a life, to have any existence, to have anything resemblance of a life, to have any kind of freedom in this life that we're living in 2023, 2023 and 2024 and going. You have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to make yourself uncomfortable. You have to put yourself out there, because guess what? If you are not doing that, no one is going to sit around and listen to you complaining. When I look at this group of people that was playing music in HMV today, right? And I'm saying to myself, this is why people don't sit around nowadays and listen to you complain and listen to you whining, saying, oh, nobody's building any business for you to go on working and get promotion and feel like you have job security and feel like you have a safety net. And I'm looking at these people and I'm seeing the talent, but I'm saying to myself, right, because I just popped in there to buy some earphones and I bumped into this, and I'm one person nowadays, TOPFORM. I'm so on this level of frequency. I'm looking for inspiration in everything. I look for inspiration. I look for the good and I look for the bad, because I said there's a yin and a yang to everything. There's a good side and the bad side. And I'm looking at these people on stage in the late 50s playing some beautiful music, and I'm thinking, how much of them actually wish they were 10 years younger? Maybe not in a bad way, but how much of them is saying, I wish I was 10 years younger, because when they are singing, everybody have the smartphone out. I might post the video because I video one of the song, right? Everybody have a smartphone out on them. So gone are the days when you were limited to the yes from one person, when you have to keep on knocking the door. Yes, you still need people to give you a chance, because they would have still need people to okay and authorize them to go and play in HMV. But listen now, right? This is where the magic is. Everybody who come and watch them has a smartphone. So basically the world is seeing them. And I'm looking at this mature group of people and I'm thinking, how much of them wish they had this opportunity 10, 20 years ago, right? How much of them actually wish they didn't play it safe? They didn't, just because they look like they are good at, they are great at the craft. You can see that they are expert. Maybe some of them in the group are maybe music teachers in our college, in a university. How much of them wish they had actually brave enough to step out and do it? But within that moment, I'm realizing gone are the days when you have to play it safe. Nowadays, if you decide to play it safe, if you don't take a chance on yourself, like, no one is literally going to take a chance on you. And no one going to sit around and listen to you complain and say you weren't given that chance. You weren't given that opportunity, because we are living in a time where the gatekeepers are no longer relevant. Right now, the gatekeepers are actually coming to itch onto your wagon. Most of the gatekeepers who used to decide how far you go or where you go in life, they are the ones who is just like hitchhikers. They are still there, because the boys club is set up a way that they are still there. If you listen to a lot of people speak in the music industry, the gatekeepers are still there, but they are basically hitchhikers. They are hitchhikers, right? So you have to be brave in this time. You have to willing to make yourself uncomfortable. You have to willing to put yourself out there. The era of the job safety is long gone. And that was one of the biggest brainwash thing, that there is such a thing as job safety. Right? Because remember, a guy can wake up tomorrow and shut down his gym, because if you are working in a company, if you are working whatever, that's actually somebody's dream you are working in. He can wake up tomorrow and be like, this gym no longer stimulated me. I'm going to sell my company. And I've been in companies, I've been in people security company. I was sold in 4 security company. I think the last time, I remember when I was doing security, I was sold 5 times in the same company. That was when I said, enough. And for those who's watching, I start my own clothing brand, right? And this level of satisfaction that you get to know that, I take a chance on myself, I gamble on myself. There's no greater feeling than taking a chance on yourself. I don't buy into this whole idea that you have to quit your job and go out on a limb. But if you can start taking a chance on yourself, the sooner you start find a way to take a chance on yourself and gradually grow, the better you will be. Because when I saw this group of individuals singing today, I'm saying to myself, this is why no one is no longer accepting excuse. Because what's your excuse for not trying? What is your reason for not trying? What is your excuse for not trying to to discover what you are good at and share it with the world. Because gone are the days when people used to dream of building a company and trying to employ people, right? Everyone is out there just using self-preservation nowadays is the order of the day. I'm going to discover my talent and I'm going to monetize it, all right? If you are lucky enough, you might catch somebody who will take you along for the ride. But remember, when a ship is taking on water, the first person is getting put overboard is basically the ones who's no longer important, right? And this is why you have to make sure you are not going overboard, because you are taking a chance on yourself. You are going to be reading the manual about yourself. Sit down, examine yourself. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What am I good at? And if you are not good at A, and you can work with somebody who can bring out the best in you, and then you have a structure to say, this is what it is. But gone are the days you'll just say, all right, this is what I'm going to do, and this is going to provide me the life I desire, or this is going to be my life for the next 20 and 30 years. From me personally, when I look at these people, right, I'm saying to myself, I don't want to ever not take a chance on myself. I don't ever, because time is precious. And if you have spent 20, 30 years working on someone else's dream and not taking a time to take a chance on yourself, the time is going to come when you're going to wake up to that realization and say, you know what, I'm going to take a chance on myself. And I guarantee you, right, you're going to be looking back. But the only way sometimes you can rationalize it is said, in that time I was doing what I had to do. I remember like when I was doing what I had to do, and that's the only way I can actually live with myself at the moment, to say, you know what, in that moment I was doing what I had to do, right? But did I wish I did take a chance on myself? Did I wish I did believe when persons who were interacting with me on a daily basis and said, you are good at this, this is your strength, why don't you do this? This is why I'm always saying, don't believe your doubts and doubts you believe, right? Listen to what people is saying. Listen to that positive voice. Listen to what turns you on. What gets you out of bed in the morning. What do you truly enjoy doing, right? And once you discover that, as a wise man said, don't blame the product because you haven't read the manual. A lot of people is always against IKEA products. And sometimes when you've come to the realization it's actually good quality products. But a lot of people finds IKEA product frustrating simply because they don't want to take the time out to read the manual. How do I construct this? And your life is no different. How do I construct a life? How do I construct a life of independence? How do I construct a life that I live on my terms? You have to be willing to read the manual. You have to be willing to read the manual. I mean, IKEA has broken up so much relationship, and it didn't have to be that way, right? If you're just willing to read the manual, accept that maybe you are bringing the muscle, somebody is bringing the brains. Right? All right. Tell you what, you are going to read the manual and tell me what goes where. I've got the strength, right? And your life is no different. Sometimes you might have to partnership with somebody who is good at what you are not good at, right? That's the beauty of life. Life is so intertwined. Simple things that we overlook, right? You realize, okay, if I live my life this way, this will be the results, right? You have to willing to read the manual. You have to willing to, and reading the manual is about taking the time to say, what do I like doing? What am I good at? What gets me up out of bed in the morning? This is what we're all about. This is top form. Remember, we can only come over here and try to motivate and try to say it works, because guess what? We are a living testimony. You might not know me as any big name. You might not know me and say, who is this guy? This is a guy that tell you as I've been there where you did not want to get up out of bed at morning times. You didn't want to put one foot in front of the other because you don't have the strength. You don't have anything you're living for. You don't have anything that's motivating you. You constantly have to suppress that feeling of creating, of expressing yourself. So you become so exhausted. When you're constantly suppressing that feeling, that creative feeling, that self-expression feeling, and this is why it's maybe not solely attributed, but part of my depression, part of where I wasn't expressing myself. I wasn't creating. I wasn't motivated to take a chance on myself. and then you wind up become addicted. And these are some of the paths, these are some of the route to addiction, right? Because when you're not living life, you try to find escape. And when you find, some people find escape in all manner of evil, from pornography to alcohol to gambling to drugs, because these are just the ways to escape that feeling that's haunting you, that you're not living your life to your true full potential. It's TOPFORM. For those who do not know, we run a clothing brand, a philosophical clothing brand, www.topformwear.com. Will to power. We are all about will to power. And when we learn something, we like to come over here, and if we can find one person who is receptive to it. So the reason that brought me here today was saying I was in Glasgow today in HMV, and they had a bandstand down the stage, and I was inspired. But not only inspired, I was motivated to say, all right, this is what's happening in life. We have a generation of people who is saying, you can see it. They probably, I'm not saying in a bad way, but when I look on their faces and see the fun that they were having, playing music, expressing themselves in music, when I look on the age of the person that they were like late 50s, I don't want to say average because my maths isn't that good, but when I look on their face, I can see that these people would have wished they had the internet, because they were singing in the phones, they were dancing, because they know what? Guess what? They know that the amount of people that's going to see them. Back when they would have thought of become musician, they would have think to themselves, no one is going to see us. No one is going to heard of us. So we can't waste our life pursuing a dream that will never happen. Me and you, we don't have that kind of problem. I mean, TOPFORM, people message me from all around the world asking me about the brand. Some people don't speak Spanish. They're like, some people don't speak English. The brand has reached and if I had started this brand, let's say 20 years ago, I would probably be the only one that knows about it. I would probably be the only ones that knows about it. But we are living in a time. So this is what I'm trying to say to you. You can't be hiding in the shadows. As Jay-Z have a song said, living in the shadows. What kind of life that is, right? I think it's one of his last album. I think his mom was basically living in the closet, and he was just saying that you can't live in the shadows nowadays. You can't live delusional thinking job safety is real. You can't live in the shadows think that people is going to accept your excuses, right? Because this is what it is. The world is literally at your fingertip, right? The gatekeepers are no longer needed. The gatekeepers are hitchhikers. If you're just joining in, I said it. Gatekeepers are hitchhikers nowadays, because you are living in a time where you can get your message, right? I don't know where some of you watching from. This is my clothing brand, TOPFORM, and we have it at www.topformwear.com, right? If I started this, let's say 15 years ago, I could only wish and hope, right? But this is the time that we are living in, and I'm motivated to come over here and speak what I'm speaking, because when I look on people in the late 50s, I would say they were late 50s and early 60s, just having fun, expressing themselves, right? And just seems as if they just find a renewed hope in life to say, you know what, maybe, just maybe this might happen. And it will happen, right? Because everyone, I think it was about 100 people watching them, and everyone has a smartphone on them. And when I look on this group of people, right, I know for a fact that if they are going to a music executive office and said, here what, we want to play music, they'll probably get laughed out and be like, shouldn't you be home with your kids, or shouldn't you be at the park with your grandkids, right? And this is what I'm saying. And I'm thinking this is why people don't have time for excuses anymore. This is why people don't have time for people who just make excuses, or people who just whine about the circumstances, because we are lucky. It's not easy. It still is no more easy than, because there's a lot of noise out there. It's still not easy cutting through the noises. But what do you have to lose? The last person who asked this question, what do you have to lose? He become president of America. And I think that was the best question, because some people didn't have anything to lose. Some people realized we have a shitload to lose, so we have to mobilize and get out and vote, right? A lot of people, when Donald Trump asked that question, what do you have to lose? That was probably one of the most pivotal moments in American politics, right? What do you have to lose, right? If you are sitting on a story, if you are sitting on a talent, if you are sitting on a gift, what do you have to lose? what do you have to lose? Like the first 5 minutes, anyone who tried to speak, the first 5 minutes, I remember Jim Rohn said when he first tried to speak, he stand up and his legs sit down. Of course you're going to be nervous, but that's part of the journey. Of course you're going to hear the sound of your voice, like seriously. Unless you are really, what they call it, narcissistic behavior, you are going to love the sound of your voice. And it's good to have a healthy ego. I don't look on somebody who love themselves nowadays and say they are, because that's just a terminology people put in place for people who just don't want to accept the status quo, right? For loving yourself, don't say, oh, you're a narcissist or you're this or you're that, right? Some people, sometimes it's good to have a healthy ego and have your ego in check, of course. But at the end of the day, right, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? And you have more to lose, right? You have more to lose not doing it. You have more to lose not finding your voice, not using your talent, right? Because if you're not using your gift, then if you know the story about the parables, yeah, when you're going to lose your gift and you're going to be wandering around the world, just feel useless at that point because your talent is taken away from you. Remember, the Bible tell you about the man who had the one talent and he went and buried it, right? Some people is more talented than some, but if you got one talent, fine-tune it. Work on it, fine tune it, and become the best at what you do. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain, right? Only thing you got to lose is your talent being taken away from you. Then you just become somebody just wandering this blue spinning planet, talentless, aimless, voiceless, and automatically you become useless because there's a time and space for your talent. There's a place where your talent is needed. There's a place where your talent is needed. And if you don't use your talent or you lose your talent, then you are just walking about, wandering this blue spinning planet, talentless and aimless. Anyway, remember it's TOPFORM. We are the philosophical clothing brand. We are here. Just want to motivate people. I said what I'm saying works, right? What I'm saying works. Okay, and if you are willing to implement them, if you are willing to, the greatest thing I want you to take away from this reasoning is take a chance on yourself, right? Take a chance on yourself. If you're not willing to take, because tell you what, people is watching. The people is watching. That video editor is watching. That script writer is watching. Every people is watching. But they say once the student is ready, the teacher will show up. So sometimes, that's why they say the kingdom of heaven is wrapped up in parables. You must have heard this before. Once a student is ready, the teacher will show up. So once you spend the time, get over the awkwardness, that feeling of, once you start to fight, right? That agency will show up. That video editor will show up. That person that wants to collaborate with you will show up. That's going to complement what you got. Like seriously, like since I've started my clothing brand, right? Sometimes I'm out there thinking, oh my God, there's too much people want to work with me. And when I remember I was in the gym and I'm like, how do I do this? How do I start a clothing brand? And I remember right now my phone is filled with contacts. It is filled with potential people that want to work with me, right? Like this blue spinning planet, this thing we call Earth. It's got some fundamental laws. It's just like the laws of physics that said what goes up has to come down. All right? That's how they said what goes up has to come down. There are some fundamental principles that govern this blue spinning planet. No one can change it. Right? No one can change it. And that's why they said whenever time the student is ready, the teacher will show up. Whenever time you start, make like English Prime Minister, tell them something. I don't worry yourself. We don't know where you're talking about. We're upon a different energy. We're upon a different energy. All right? We're not deal with that. Right? We just try to motivate people. And for the persons who is thinking to start a business and saying, I don't know where to start, I don't have the expertise. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Just start. Just start. Okay? Because once a student is ready, the teacher will show up. Once you start, you are going to be meeting people. You are going to be meeting people who is ready. You're going to meet the ones them who is just in it for what they can get. You are going to meet the good, the bad, right? You are going to my bad brother, me I'm mad. If you're mad, brother, that's listen to me. Well, if you listen to me, I can't manage you know. My brother say I'm mad. I'm just genuinely trying to motivate people. I say, listen to me, right? Don't be afraid to start. Because when you look back on your journey, right? When you look back on your journey, you will realize what was I afraid of? My phone is just filled with contacts. When I first started my clothing brand, I did not know you need a thing called tech pack, right? I remember as soon as I get the logo, I send it to the supplier and they just, cause the supplier don't care, you know. They just slap it on the fabric and send it back, you know. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, but nowadays they're like my classics, you know, because it's part of the story. Like if you see my first products, it is part of the story. Okay, but when I get them back and I start watch some video, so sometimes, you know, sometimes when somebody's having a conversation, you won't get everything, but you need to listen out for it. You need to listen keenly. As somebody said, when you're doing a brand, you need a thing called a tech pack, especially if you're dealing with suppliers, SY. And I went and I Googled what's a tech pack. And then I went on to different platforms and I find somebody who does tech pack. So nowadays, anything I'm doing, right? I make sure I get my tech pack and I send it to the supplier with where the logo is supposed to go, the size of the logo, everything. All right. But that all starts with me starting and then learning along the journey. The next thing I learned that it's nice when you deliver your product and it's got its own customized stuff. So like your neck label, your tags and everything. And I had to went and research it and I said, all right, right. But saying that to say this, you have to start because the only way you're going to learn, as I said, you don't have to be great to start, but once you start, you'll be great. Something like that. Does that make sense, right? Don't quote me fully. It was Zig Ziglar, right? That was Zig Ziglar. Understand? Blessed, I don't want to be rude, but sometimes when I accept the friend request, because we are over here to deliver a message, I know it's part of building a community, and I get that, but sometimes I accept friend requests and it's just chaos, right? Because I'm on a mission. I don't need to be the most watched or the most followed person on TikTok because everybody measure gold and success in different ways. If I can motivate one person and say that idea that you have in your head, your people is waiting for you. That phrase that you think would sound good or look good on a t-shirt, your people is waiting for you. Your tribe is waiting for you. My top farmers are out there. All right, as I said, I speak to a brand person that she's like, who are you targeting? TOPFORM is targeting the winners. The person who know that success is a journey, but it's one of the best feeling once you get there. This is why when Tiger Woods win a championship, he just fling the golf club and he fling the ball. This is why when Usain Bolt run, him just success, right? And this is why when I put on when I put on the brand TOPFORM and I'm looking clean and I'm feeling good, especially if I just go out with because sometimes when you're working for people, you're bogged down with work and you're bogged down in life and you don't got time for anything. When I'm going out to socialize and I know that, guess what? I'm able to be here because I did stuff right. I create the time. I have the money in my pocket because I did X and I did Y. I feel like $1,000,000, bro. And this is why when the marketing, who is TOPFORM for? TOPFORM is for our winners. But when I was speaking to her, she's like, they might be afraid of the term sacrifice. No, you can't win unless you sacrifice. You cannot win. And this is why I'm afraid of motivated fools, because it's easy for you to look on Tiger Woods on the golf course and say, oh, how hard it is to do a putt. How hard it is to get a golf ball into a golf hole. It is difficult. It takes Tiger Woods hundreds of hours. So I've kind of phrase, don't be a motivated fool. Don't be a motivated idiot. Don't see somebody doing something and in your ignorant, motivated state, you're like, oh, that's easy. Don't see somebody doing a brand. Don't see somebody start a skincare range. Because if somebody's doing a brand or they start a skincare range, chances the what's motivate that person to start that skincare range, they maybe have used some products that didn't work towards the skin and they said, I've had enough, and they start spend years and months. And they come up with, and then they decide to share what they learn with the world. Don't be a motivated fool. I've never wanted to come over here and say I'm going to motivate people. I am here to educate you and said, listen to me. You have to be willing to make the sacrifice. Put in the hours working. Do the work. Once you do the work, the result will follow. As I said, once a student is ready, the teacher will show up. Okay? There's nothing more sadder than when a teacher is sitting in class waiting on the student. The person that's going to help you to bring your brand to life is not there sitting waiting on you. Well, let's bro nice second again. Up in here, right? There's nothing. Very few times you go to class. If when you're going to school and your teacher reach class before you, your teacher know that you're a lost cause. If you were going to school and when you go to class, your teacher is waiting on you, chances are you are looking back in your life and be like, I've messed up, I've wasted my school time. Am I lying? Can interact with me? I've been there. If when you used to go to school, your teacher used to wait for you in class, you are sitting now and thinking, I've wasted my school time, I should have done better. But tell you what, right? Some of the best students are the one when the teacher walk in class. Good morning, miss. Good morning, sir. Right? And that is life. Okay? That videographer, that person is going to say, I can do this. I can move you from here to here. They are not there waiting. Yeah? They will show up. They will see you doing your video. They will see you doing your TikTok. They will see you and they're going to reach out. They are going to reach out because guess what? They are going to see the potential. They are going to see the value because their experience, they are going to be looking. I've had people reaching out to me and say, and I'm like, all right, of course, let's have a conversation. Why? Some see the good, the bad, and the indifferent. Some is seeing what I'm doing right. Some is seeing what I'm doing wrong. Some is seeing where I'm doing both. It's for me to sit down and say, all right, this is what I know what to do. This is does that make sense? Right? And I don't want to seek validation because I know exactly it makes sense. And I think that's a bad way of speaking. So before I go any further, I'm about to end. If you like what I'm saying, give me a follow. I promise I am here to motivate. I am here to say, look, try this. If the old way wasn't working because you can't doing the same thing and expect different result, take a chance on yourself. Enjoy the blessings that we have nowadays, the freedom to reach people that you couldn't reach before. It's a numbers game. And we are able to reach people that, remember, when you used to walk into an executive office, they used to tell you everything they can do for you. And it all come back to numbers. We can get you to this amount of people. We can get you to reach. Well, go and Sharon, bless up yourself. We love the interaction. Yeah, Sharon. Big up Sharon the boss. Of course, big up Sharon the boss. When you used to walk into an executive office as a budding upcoming entertainer, they used to look at you like, why should we work with you when we can get you to reach 10 million people? Nowadays, you can say to them, why should I work with you when I'm reaching 10 million people? It's a damn good time to be on TOPFORM. Sit down and fold your hand. Nobody now come to save you. Think about it. We are living in a time where you can say to the gatekeepers, why should I work with you when I can reach 10 million people? It is a beautiful time to be alive. It is a damn good time. Regardless. And at the same time I was in Glasgow, there was a protest about the war that's going on in other parts. It is. But at the same time when I was looking and I was inspired and I was motivated to say, you know what? If you're alive in this time, count yourself lucky. Because many people died not expressing themselves, not living the full dream and the full potential, simply because the opportunities weren't afforded to them. The different social media that makes the vast blue spinning planet. There's only a handful of planets, universe, that is as big as the earth that we live on. There is only a handful. I don't want to show my ignorance by start to naming planets, but there's only a handful of planets. And they are not habitable. But this blue spinning planet that is habitable, it is so small, it is so connected. So now we can look on the gatekeepers and say, why should I work with you? Why? When I can reach people directly. And the only power the gatekeepers used to have is to let you into the party. So now the gatekeepers are hitchhiking. There's no reason for excuse. It's hard. It's not easy. It is still manipulated. The game is still rigged. every game. Rita Marley have a song. And who quote the game? Me say, yeah, who quote the game? The game is still rigged. It is still rigged. It is still rigged. The game is still rigged. Rita Marley and Bob Marley, you never hear that song? It was like they're playing a domino game. If you never go and listen to the song. Who quote the game? Me say, yeah, who? Some say Anati J-E-A. Some say Abale. The game is still rigged, you know. The game, don't get me wrong. But you can get around it with faith and a just cause. David can still defeat Goliath in the 21st century. I'll say it again. Haile Selassie. So I go and share around. You like that one there? Rita Marley. Who quote the game? Me say, yeah, who quote the game? Don't be delusional. The game is still rigged. The gatekeepers are still trying to rig the game. The gatekeepers are, because it's a numbers. And they know that once you can reach the people, then they are no longer needed. Is the game still rigged? I'm not that daft. The game is still rigged. But keep knocking. Somebody will let you in. It's TOPFORM. Check out www.topformwear.com, alright? The brand is here to empower you. It's here to motivate and uplift you. Alright? This is why we say we are. This is why we say the will to power. It takes courage. It takes faith. It takes confidence. It takes determination. It takes everything to get you to the other side. But you have to take, but most of all, it takes you taking a chance on yourself. Alright? Have a blessed Saturday, alright?